forward.
Great. And I know Allie said she's running home too. Hey,
Awesome.
Jacqueline.
Hello.
Hi, everybody. I'll let everybody we'll chit chat first, and then I'll mute everybody for the breath work so that we don't all have to hear each other go. I'm so excited to see you all. Hello, Jacqueline. Hello, Kelly. Hi, Mary Lou.
Hello.
Hi.
Guys, excited for some breath work tonight?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you guys can go ahead and you guys can just share. You can share in the chat if you don't want to all just talk over each other. But there's kind of two options that we can do today. One of them is heading into, it's like a sinus clearing / really like, it really helps me like deep mental focus. And then into a listening exercise. And the listening exercise is really focused on thinking about one thought, it could be one problem, it could be a goal that you have, and all you do is focus for the whole 20 minutes on that one thing. You feel it throughout your body, you see what comes up. It's a really interesting thing to see if we truly focus all of our intention on something, what solutions maybe show up that we didn't know, or what body feelings show up that we weren't aware of. An example was I was focused on some financial security and I sat with that. And when I sat with it in the first 5 minutes, my right knee started hurting so bad. I literally thought it was going to explode. And then that pain ended there and went up into my jaw. And then it ended from there. And then all of a sudden I got this thought, and it was like, everything comes from nothing and you keep trying to do something. And I was like, oh, that's profound. And so it's just really about trusting the nothing, trusting the rest, trusting that all things are in place. So that's a really cool one for if there's people that really want to focus in. The other one is really about breath mechanics, and we can kind of do a fun little breath mechanics into a deeper understanding of even how to use breath work for fitness. So if you're focused on a health goal or even a fitness goal, those can be really big pieces there. So we can go either direction tonight. I wrote both of them out, but I want to do, this is your time. So which one or what's going on in your life, and let's just see which one pairs up best. You guys can talk about that if you want, or share away. That's right, Kelly. Kelly's like, me either, all. Perfect, girl. Like the first one, option one. Okay, option one wins. Love it. So before we start, just like we do every time, we're going to test our CO2 tolerance. Your CO2 tolerance is the #1 measurable test we have of your mental, emotional state and how resilient to stress you are. So this is going to be a determining factor on really how hard you want to push, right? So we'll kind of see what people's results are, and then I'll be able to give you some feedback as you go through the breath work. Also, how hard do you want to push yourself? How deep do you want to go in the breath work? When do you give yourself a break? When do you not? And so this is where CO2 lets you know. Those of you guys that are also, it doesn't matter if you're have family stress, work stress, those pieces, the lower your CO2 tolerance is, the less resiliency you have to any of those stresses. So if you're beating yourself up because you're like, I can't handle all of the things, but then we test your CO2 tolerance and it's low, it's like, don't beat yourself up. Biochemically, you do not have the ability to be resilient to that kind of stress yet. And that's why we keep coming. That's why I keep coming every month. And that's why we put this in the foundational program that Sophie talks about, because this is your gauge that allows you, I always tell people, I don't care if you want to talk crap about yourself. If you want to talk down to yourself, go right ahead. And I want you to factually talk down to yourself. So don't be saying stuff that isn't factual. So if you I used to always like to call myself lazy because I felt like I couldn't keep up with everything, and disorganized. So that was my other one. I'm lazy and disorganized. I need to do more and I need to do it better. And then I tested my CO2 tolerance and I was a 7. Biochemically, neither of those things was possible for me. So for me to say that to myself, the only accurate thing I could say to myself is, Nicole, you have a very dysregulated nervous system that requires you to rest more and have a difficulty step-by-step organizing. That's the only factual thing I could say. So let's go ahead and test that really quickly today. I will call out every 5 seconds. Let me get my timer up. So we'll just get like a rough estimate. Like if I say 15 seconds and then I haven't said 20 yet, but you stop, you can be like, oh, it was like 17, 18 seconds. Okay. I'm going to do 3 breaths. Deep breath in through your nose, and then it can come out nose or mouth on the first one. Same thing, second breath, deep breath in through your nose, out your nose or mouth on the second one. Third one, deep breath in through your nose. When I say go, you're going to exhale as long and slow out your nose as you can. Mouth is going to stay closed. When you swallow or stop breathing, exhaling out your nose, there's no more air to come out. That's when the test is over. I'll walk you through the whole thing, okay? All right, let's start everybody with one deep breath, big breath in. Nose or mouth, let it all out. Big deep breath in. Let it all out, nose or mouth, doesn't matter. Last one, this is the one that counts. Big deep breath in. And then go, exhaling out your nose as long, slow as possible. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Is anybody still going? 35? Yep, we got one. 35. Done. Okay, perfect. Awesome. Great job. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I like looked up right as I said that. You were doing great. Okay, so 0 to 20, you have a very low tolerance to stress. You're living most of your time in that fight or flight state or that freeze mode. So your nervous system is very dysregulated. 21 to 40, this is what we would consider common or normal. This is what most human beings sit at. 41 and to 60 is optimal. That's where I would love to see all of you get. So if you were in the 0 to 20 mark, who was there? Anybody 0 to 20? Okay, perfect. Yeah. So if you 0 to 20, don't worry, I was 7 whenever I did this the first time. Whenever you're in that 0 to 20, one of the best things that you can do is a CO2 tolerance walk. I don't know how many other people have incorporated that. We've talked about it a lot. You're going to walk for 10 minutes with your mouth closed, breathing in and out through your nose. And if those inhales and exhales can be either like 3 seconds in, 3 seconds out, up to 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, that's going to be the best thing for you. So try to incorporate that 10-minute walk every day if you can. And like literally people are showing up to a 60% improvement in the first 10 days. So like you get really massive improvements. And the really cool thing about that is not only is the number, the CO tolerance number getting better, but your resilience to stress is getting better. So you'll start to notice like, oh, I don't feel the need to like yell so much. Oh, I don't feel the need to like crawl into my bed and cry. I can actually think of the next step that I should do. Like we all have a lot of things going on, but sometimes our mind can't actually differentiate what it needs to do to be successful. When our CO2's tolerance is that low, you just literally don't have the neurological capabilities, and that's okay. But we want to be really kind and give ourselves grace. And I don't, does anyone else have problems giving themselves grace? Like people are like, give yourself grace. I'm like, give myself grace. I'm like, I need to get my shiz together. like, I got 3 kids. I got a business to run. I got financial stuff that needs to happen. Like, give myself grace. You're not living my life. So when I can have an objective measure that's literally like, okay, Nicole, like your neurological system needs a break. It literally just allows me, overachiever me, to have an objective measure that says, you're not just being lazy. You're not just being overwhelmed and not knowing what to do. You literally have something going on. So I consider it like if you would go to the doctor and get a diagnosis and they'd be like, oh, well, Kelly, your diagnosis is you have a dysregulated nervous system. And I'm going to write you a script to take a 20-minute nap every day this week. Like, just imagine donning your own white coat and saying all those things to yourself and giving yourself grace. And for me personally, I need it. I needed it to be that objective because I like to really berate myself, even though like I was having health challenges and all those pieces. Awesome. Okay, questions about breath work, questions about the results, anything with those pieces. Oh yeah, we got another one joining us. Allie. That's great.
I was
Yes.
an 18 last time, and this time I was a 25, so baby steps. How
Woohoo!
what like improvement can you expect? Like I try to work on like the last video that I did with you,
Mm-hmm.
the where you just breathe like really kind of shallow and stuff. Is that the best way
That,
to get better?
that and then the CO2 tolerance walk. If you can do
Okay.
that 10-minute walk, that's like the best thing. The CO2
Okay.
tolerance walk is what really took me from the 7. I usually average, so I've actually been going through, this is a great example. Like normally, guys, I've been averaging a 36. The last 2 weeks since that ding dang eclipse, I don't know. I've been so tired and like not handling stress well. And my CO2 tolerance, I check it every morning, kind of like resting heart rate. And it's been below 20 almost every morning for the last about 10 days. So what that means for me is like, again, I'm not going to the gym. I'm doing the CO2 tolerance walk. I'm not adding extra work projects to myself. So I've gotten calls of like clients that are like, hey, can I get in this week? Even though the spots are there, the answer is no because my system can't take any extra work right now. Now, if I woke up and my CO2 was a 36 to more than that, then I'm going to say yes to those things as long as they're like aligned with my values in those pieces. But when I see that I have a dysregulated nervous system, my only priority is building my confidence that I will show up for the things that I have on my schedule. But I'm not adding anything else. So that's how I use it to really determine what my schedule and what my life looks like. So I love that you're saying that. So testing it, you're 25, that's awesome. That really means you're moving into the space where you get to push yourself a little bit harder. So you could probably do the 10-minute walk and then also try to get that breath work in 2 to 4 times a week. And you'll notice a really, really, really big improvement. And then try to get that 5-second inhale, 5-second exhale. See if you can keep that rhythm rather than maybe the 3-3, but keep challenging yourself to go just a little bit longer with that balanced breathing, which is awesome. Okay, that was a really great question. And I love that you're following along and like using these videos. I think that's the biggest thing that I would say Sophie and I talk about so much is there's so many great resources in the world. And we don't care if you're in our programs or if you're in someone else's programs, but utilize the resources that you have, try to make them habits, try to take away the max amount of stuff that you can from it, which obviously you guys are here. So you are doing that. And it just makes me really proud of you. So let's actually just start with like giving yourself a big hug and like a thank you. Like, thank you for showing up. Do you know how many people are in this program? And like, I love that they're going to watch the replay. And also, like, you guys showed up. It's amazing. Like, so proud of you. Um, yeah, it's
Me too.
really,
I'm proud of you guys too.
and anybody that's watching the replay, I'm really proud of you too, because it's even harder to watch a replay, I feel like. And anybody that's missing it, it's not that I'm not proud of you, but you won't even know. But keep showing up. Let's send them all that good energy and attract them in. They're going to want to watch the replay now. So let's go through. We're going to do the kind of sinus clearing opening breath, especially with the allergies that are going on right now. And then we'll head from that into the listening exercise. The sinus part, I'm not going to have music for, and then I'll add the music for the listening exercise. So what we're going to do with the sinus clearing breath is you're going to plug your nose on one side, doesn't matter which one. Plug your nose on one side. You're going to inhale, plug off that side of your nose, mouth closed, exhale out the other side. Keep it plugged. Inhale on the same side. Plug, open, exhale. Inhale. Plug, open, exhale. Inhale. Lug, open, exhale. Inhale. Lug, open. Let's see if can we exhale even slower. Inhale. Long, slow inhale, pulling it all the way from the bottom of your feet. Plug. Can't remember what side I was on. Exhale. Nice, big, long inhale. Lug, open, exhale. Inhale. Lug, open, exhale. One more round. Inhale. Lug, open, exhale. And go ahead and relax your hands, get in a comfortable position. And now we're going to start with sniff, sniff, poo. So it's going to look like this. Still make sure with those sniffs that your belly is expanding. We're going to do 1 minute of this, and then we're going to head into 3 seconds in, 3 seconds out, and I'll be starting the music. So here we go. Sniff. Sniff, sniff. Belly, belly. Belly, belly, exhale. Sniff, sniff, exhale. Sniff, sniff, exhale. In, out. In, out. In, out. In, out. 3 more. In, out. In, out. 1 more. In, out. Let it all out. Breathing in, 2, 3, breathing out, 2, 3, 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 breathing in, 2, 3, breathing out, 2, 3. The music's going to continue to get a little bit louder. I want you to continue this pace. In for 3 and out for 3. Try to stay with your nasal breathing as long as you can. If you need to exhale out your mouth every so often, that's okay, but try to stay with this breathing. And as you do, I want you to pull up one thought, one thing that you want to focus on, focusing only on the one. Because we know when we can focus on one thing for the next 15 minutes, imagine the solutions we could come to. Formulate that sentence. Maybe it's a problem you've been struggling with. Maybe it's a goal that you've been working on. Maybe it's a belief that has been coming up. Recently, a lot of beliefs have been coming up for me of nothing's working. I want it to work faster. What else do I need to do? Even just a simple thought like that, just one of those is wonderful. Pick your thought. And allow yourself to feel it in your body. As you breathe in for 3 and out for 3. How dropped in your own body can you be? Hear the music getting just a little bit louder now. Can you stay with that breathing in for 3 and out for 3? And what does it feel like? What solutions could possibly come? What deep, deep knowledge or feeling would you have with focusing all of your energy on one thought? You might notice naturally that your breathing will start syncing with the exercise, with the music. Your unconscious mind can only communicate with you through your body. It's why you're here with Sophie, healing the very vessel that will allow your unconscious mind to be able to speak more deeply to you. Imagine if the deepest, most transformative relationship that you could have would be with yourself. By choosing to stay with the one thought, you're making a choice to be in relationship with yourself, to listen for answers that you might not understand yet, but know that your unconscious mind is always looking for the best answer for your survival and your thriving in this life. The only program that it's running. Staying with that breathing in for 3 and out for 3. Anything your body is asking for, if it wants to relax deeper and deeper, it can. If you need to roll your shoulders or rub a knee, you need to hold yourself or move your body. This is you listening to your unconscious mind, listening to your needs and answering them. Being the protector, being the leader of yourself. Can you stay with that breathing pattern in for 3 and out for 3? Can you continue to challenge yourself? Going deeper and deeper into healing, into knowing, into focus, into your body. Calling upon yourself. Sophie, Allie, Jacqueline, Kelly, Mary Lou. What does my body need from me? What is my answer? And just one more minute. We're going to do 3 big breaths together. So take this time. Really be with yourself. All together now, keeping those eyes closed, staying deep within yourself. Take a big, deep breath in, all the way from the toes. Big, deep breath in. Let it all go with a sound. Hold here, just for a moment. Another big, deep breath in. Pull it from those toes. Pull all the way up through the ground. Pull all of Mother Earth's energy all the way up. Nourishment, and let it all go. Relax here. Can you sit in the need to take a breath without rushing it? Can you be with the challenge? One more big deep breath in, big deep breath in. Hold at the top. Let it all go. And hold here. Hold for as long as you can. When you need to return to normal breathing, just come back to that natural breathing pattern. Still keeping your eyes closed. I want you to begin to trace down, starting at the top of your head, on the inside of your body. Imagine a spiral staircase, starting from your unconscious mind, walking down, 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 going in deeper and deeper into your physical body. Notice that there's 10 more steps, and it will be all the way fully inside your body, able to communicate your emotions, your thoughts, easily and effortlessly in your body, and you are going to consciously understand it. When you're ready to walk down those last 10 steps, just give me a nod. That's right. From 10 to 9. From 9 to 8, gaining an even deeper and deeper understanding of yourself, of your body. From 8 to 7 now. So deep. 7 to 6. All that deep knowledge begins to unlock. 6 to 5. 5 times the deeper knowing. 5 times deeper understanding. 5 times deeper now. 5 to 4. And 4 to 3. And 3 to 2. So deep now. 2 to 1. When you step off the last stair, you'll be fully embodied. You'll notice that you can look around. You can feel feelings in here and see colors, shapes, textures. One to 0. Stepping in fully embodied now. You'll begin to notice that there's maybe one color or shape that you're drawn to. If you don't see one yet, just ask your unconscious mind, what do you want to show me about the one thing I was focused on? Maybe it's down in your legs or off to the left or to the right in your belly. Maybe it's inside an organ, or maybe it's your beating heart. Whatever it is your unconscious mind is showing to you just right. Go ahead and travel there. Ask your unconscious mind, what lessons do I need to know here that I can take back into the physical world for my survival, for my thriving, to create changes that move me forward? What lesson do I need to know here? You may actually be somewhere, you may actually hear something, or you might just have a knowing. Your unconscious mind communicates just the way you need it to. Once you have your lesson, take another moment to look around your body. Maybe there's some parts that want some extra love. Maybe there's parts that want to be cooled down, so you want to pour water on them. Maybe there's parts that want to warm up. So send fire their way, or a beautiful heater, whatever they need. Notice how comfortable you feel here, how comfortable you feel with your body, with emotions, with your unconscious mind. In just a moment, I'm going to count from 5 to 1. And as I do, we're going to become more aware, coming back into the room, bringing all of your lessons back to the present moment. 5. Taking one more deep breath in. And letting it all go. 4. Being aware of any last minute feelings, lessons, knowledge that you need to know. 3. Wiggling those fingers and toes, coming back into the room. 2. Feeling that big smile come onto your face as you're waking up. 1. Big stretch up. And 0. Coming back into the room, coming back into the space that is now. Welcome back. How was your journey to your body? That one was so fun for me. Thank you. I always take time to answer any questions here, to dive deeper if there's any other intention or anything else that you guys need. I was feeling all sorts of things coming up, so I'm guessing some of you were too. At one point, I thought I was going to start crying, and I was like, I'm not even doing the breath work. So that was fun. So yeah, if anybody wants to share what their takeaways were, or if you have any questions about breath work, health, I'm here to answer those too. We do this once a month, so I want to make sure in between time you can integrate that you want to. So yeah, like Mary Lou's question earlier too about like what breath work to do to continue to improve the CO2 tolerance. You can share insights from your voyage or questions about your breathing if any of that's helpful to you. You feel free to unmute or just drop it in the chat, and whichever feels the best to you.
I just had one more question about when we were doing at the end, when you had us do the 3 really deep breaths and then hold it at the bottom.
Yeah.
It was so much easier to hold. I could hold that for like so much longer than at the very beginning when you made us do it. So why is that? That's my question.
Yeah, you improved your CO2 tolerance. So with doing that 3 seconds in, 3
The
seconds
3
out.
second in and okay, that's
Yeah.
what I thought.
Yeah, so that was fast breathing. So we actually improved your CO2 tolerance. Now, got slower. Yeah, and that's completely fine too. Like longer and slower is, yeah, that's great, Kelly. But yeah, that's what you did. So you're able to hold for longer. So there's a CO2 tolerance test where you hold your breath too. There's a couple of different ways to do the testing. I like the exhale because it's a little bit more functional, and it actually taps into your vagus nerve a bit more than just holding your breath does. Holding your breath can actually cause a little bit more of a stress response. So especially when we're looking in these healing groups, like we are here, I always look to the exhale to be more essentially nourishing and safe for our body than just a hold. Sometimes people also like to pass out whenever they're holding, especially unfortunately males. They're like, I'm gonna go so hard, and then they like pass out. And I'm like, I don't like people to pass out whenever I'm on Zoom. So the exhale is a little bit easier to control that. But yeah, that's what we did. We just improved that hold and that CO2 tolerance. Yeah, Kelly, I love that. Exactly. Yeah, it's completely okay for your breathing. So the question was, I feel like my breathing got slower as we went along, longer than 3 seconds. Is it okay? And is that typical for impact? 1, it depends on what you want. The slower you slow down your breathing, you get into a more relaxed state. So you'll kind of head more and more to that deeper relaxed state, which is great. Also, if you want to stay really focused, the 3-3 will keep you a little bit more alert and focused. Where if you drift to like a 5-5, 6-6, you're kind of really just you're dropping in really deeply and you're just kind of waiting to see what comes up rather than being a little bit more consciously focused. The 3-3, we get the conscious unconscious mind pairing there. As we do like a 5-5, we get a lot more unconscious and a deeper dive in. So yeah, no problem, Kelly. Love doing this. Any other insights from today or questions?
How come CO2 test is better to do like right in the morning when you wake up versus no.
Yeah. So your CO2 tolerance will change throughout the day. So for example, if you eat a really heavy fatty meal, your CO2 tolerance will go down. Caffeine, your CO2 tolerance will go down. Now, can it rebound? Yes, but like I've been doing experiments. I've like struggled also. I'm like, know what I should be eating, but let's be honest, sometimes I drift a little bit farther than I should. So for example, like eating out with my kids after like games and stuff like that. So I've noticed like if I would eat McDonald's, my CO2 tolerance will drop about 15 points, and it takes me about 2 to 3 days to recover from that. So it's actually really cool that you can kind of track that, but that's what it is. It's like as soon as you get up and get moving, you're already adding stress. So imagine like your stress resilience is hopefully best in the morning. But then as you add stress, you become a little less tolerant to stress. So caffeine is stress. Unhealthy foods would be stress, like higher fatty foods. Any of those like pieces is just going to alter that. So that's why it's best in the morning. You're going to get your most accurate depiction of your baseline, but I will test it. Like if I get towards the evening and let's say that I'm trying to decide if I'm going to go to bed early or if and my husband's going to put the kids to bed or if I'm going to put the kids to bed, I'll just check my CO2 tolerance. If it's really low, I will just ask him. I'll be like, "Hey, can you do these pieces? I want to take some decompress time." And it kind of just gives me a good gauge on really how I'm feeling versus I just always used to have like push too hard. CO2 tolerance is also really interesting. It can catch a decrease in resiliency to stress before you feel it. So I might be feeling like, woohoo, oh my gosh, I did all these presentations today and I got to meet with this cool breath work and that was awesome. And then I check my CO2 tolerance is like a 12 and I'm like, wowzers. Like, it's not that the stress was bad, but it's like my body's had enough. So I don't know about you guys, but have you ever had one of those like highly productive days and then you wake up the next day and you like can't even get out of bed? You're like, oh God, I really ran. Sophie's like, yeah, okay, that's like me too. So CO2 tolerance, sometimes I will check it throughout the day because I want to catch myself before I get there because I've been in burnout and adrenal fatigue and thyroid issues and all those things. So I try to catch myself beforehand, but very best first thing in the morning to know just baseline, where are you hanging out most of the time? Did you know CO2 tolerance before now?
I had just watched the recorded video
Oh, perfect.
and yeah, so and I try and do breath work every morning through my hatch, but I haven't done the CO2 test in the morning yet. And I really need to get myself to do it. I just haven't. And so I've done it. So anyway, I was just curious if I could like put it in a different part of my routine. But I feel like because I do the breath work in the morning anyway, I just need to like practice the CO2 test, figure it out, and then do it in the morning.
Yeah. Do you get up with an alarm?
Yeah.
Okay. So, is it on, do you get up with a phone alarm or do you have like like an actual, like a sunrise alarm clock or something like that?
Yeah, I have a hatch. That's what I do my breath work with.
Okay. So honestly, like what you could do is you could set a like phone alarm that would go out or put a sticky note on your hatch for the next like week that
Mhm.
just says like CO2 test. And so then whenever it goes off, you're gonna look anyway and you'll be like, oh yeah, I need to do that. It's probably just a
Yeah.
habit stack reminder just to remind yourself to do it beforehand. Also, I don't know about you, but data always gets me to buy in. So like
Yeah.
I love doing breath
I'm so
work.
curious.
I also want to know that my breath work's working. So like that's I used to do a lot of this. And I used to have like what I would call like more spiritual breath work experiences. But what I realized is I was actually like pretty sick. So my CO2 would go way down while I was doing that. And my stress resilience went way down. And so then I
Mhm.
wasn't able to get where I wanted to health wise. So I was like, oh, I'm doing breath work every day, but I'm actually not getting better, healthier, and more nervous system regulated. So it's also a really good gauge to know like, oh, what breath work should I be doing? Because you're taking the time to do it. Let's make sure that you're getting the results that you want. Awesome. Those were great questions. Love that. Can't wait to hear more about it too. Definition, Sophie, definition of my life as a projector. Me too.
Wait,
My
so now
job.
Sophie, I know you're an aura wearer, so maybe I have a question
Yes.
for you or any other aura wearers in the group. Like now I'm starting to think, I know there's the resilience like part of the app, and then there's a CO2, there's like breath oxygen when you're sleeping. Is any of that correlated to this?
I feel
Or
like
no?
the resilience would be the most
Yeah,
connected.
that's what I was
Because
thinking.
yeah, because like, you know, what I think resilience takes into effect like your daytime stress, but also your time recovery. So one of the
Mhm.
things I found the most interesting about the Aura Ring was like when it started having the resilience thing, I got like a booster, like I went to a higher level and I noticed that my daytime recovery and my nighttime recovery was better. So even though I had stress, I was recovering better. And then when I don't recover as well, I notice that it will go down, you know, the
Yeah.
resiliency. So I feel like it could correlate in that idea of like if you're doing the CO2 tolerance test and you're seeing you're like at a 10 all the time, and then your resilience would probably also be pretty far down because you're not going to be recovering as well from a stress response perspective. Mm-hmm.
I just like put this over here too. For this is what the Aura Ring
I was
is.
gonna ask about HRV too.
Yeah, so HRV
Mhm.
is the other really good test. So it's essentially just lumping that in with everything else. HRV is the other. So we've got CO2, which is your mental emotional state. That's like really what it's testing. We've got HRV, that is the health of your vagus nerve. So it doesn't take anything, like you don't actually have to push yourself, like, right, in CO2 tolerance, when I'm asking you to exhale, like you actually have to consciously exhale slow and like really control it
Yeah.
and push yourself a little bit. That's why it's more that mental emotional state where are you at, how hard can you actually push yourself. HRV is the actual health of your vagus nerve. So biggest nerve in your entire body, connects your brain and your gut. It's becoming the most researched part of our physical body. It's been shown in to be within everything from ADHD to MS to Parkinson's disease. It's really crazy how much is being
Wow.
researched. But essentially that's what the Aura Ring is looking. That's what I wanted to see. I was like, wonder what the resiliency score, if it's taking
Yeah.
into. So it's taking into your HRV. And then
And our HRV and CO2, like, are those, like, if I work to raise my CO2, will it help raise my HRV? Because my HRV is like the one score I can't figure out how to raise. And like, it's the one reason why sometimes even when I'm doing really great things for my recovery, like I don't have good recovery or sleep or
Yes,
whatever.
so in my coaching program, we've actually had several people, but one girl, so typically we see about a 30 to 60% improvement in HRV within the first like week to 10 days. And what they're doing is the CO2 tolerance walk. So 10-minute walk, mouth closed in for try to get 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. But again, you want it to be a pace that you can actually keep with your mouth shut. But we had one girl that went from an HRV of 33 to an HRV of 91 in 10 days. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And we,
Okay, I'm gonna do the CO2 test tomorrow morning. Can't
yeah,
wait.
I love it.
This is crazy.
it's pretty crazy.
Mine like 31's like high for me. Like that's I'm like, okay, that's pretty good.
yeah, you want it to
91?
be,
I didn't know that existed.
for a healthy vagus nerve, you want it to be 60 or more.
Okay, wow. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So essentially you want to double it. So essentially this is why you shouldn't be so hard on yourself, right? Because like there's a lot of other pieces. And this is what I love about Sophie's program. And like, don't worry, she didn't like pay me to come in here and say this, but like, because you guys are already in the program, but this is for everybody else that you talk to though. This is why
Yeah.
she created the whole sequence. This is why it's not just like some supplements and some testing, because that's really pretty and cool, but it doesn't get to these baseline issues of like, why is this disease even here? And the disease takes root because of some sort of dysregulation. And we are finding more and more that dysregulation is starting in the vagus nerve. And then it just essentially spreads out and it's a total body nervous system dysregulation. And then it kind of just keeps going. And so that's why I like think that these, like the mindset tools that she's doing, the mindset tools that her and Carly do in their one-on-one coaching, are so worth it because that's where this stuff is coming in. I mean, I've even seen big jumps in my HRV. If I do belief work, it will like plummet. And then like within 2 days, it'll like jump back, like it'll jump higher than it was before. And that'll kind of be my new baseline. So there's some really freaking cool stuff happening. This is why I love data. You guys got me on my third zone now.
Yeah, I was just thinking about too, like the HTMA, which Ali, I like literally just got yours like an hour ago in my
So
inbox. But
excited.
yeah, like there's an autonomic nervous system like marker on there, like what meaning like our nervous system, like where is it, where are we at? And I feel like the combination of the CO, like something that Nicole and I talked about when we built, when I was building She Academy and I wanted this in there, was like, how do we track and correlate this with data? And with the HTMA, we can see it too there. So it's like cool because you get this CO2 tolerance on a daily basis. It's free. And then you get this extra layer, and then we can support it from like a nutrition and mineral perspective on top of the walk and the mindset and the, you know, all these things that we're trying to incorporate for you guys. And what I love about what Nicole said, and you missed a little bit of this, Ali, at the beginning, was just like, well, she will use that to tell her like how hard to push herself. And like, that's a quantitative data point for her. And same thing with an HTMA. Like there's, I know like we all want to do everything all at the same time, but sometimes that's like why we are feeling sick. So these things allow us to like move faster by moving slower. You know what I mean? Slow down so we can speed up. So just wanted to add that.
Yeah, I
That's
love
awesome.
that. It is essentially, we're getting a quantitative, a measurable test that says, yes, it is time to prioritize. I can only probably focus entirely on one thing today. So what is that one thing? And maybe that one thing is like, okay, I need to focus on my family. Maybe that one thing is I'm going to focus on my nutrition today. I'm going to make sure I get in my meals. I'm going to make sure that these things happen. Maybe the one thing is something at work. But if your CO2 is low, if your HRV is low, and you think you're gonna like be on point for nutrition and add a new gym habit and remember to take all your supplements and remember to do your breath work and start a new PM routine and you're going to be there for your family, like it is just not possible for you. So like, again, we have a quantitative test that just says like, give yourself a break. Pick the one thing, do the one thing really well.
Super helpful.
Yeah.
LOL.
I don't know who you guys are talking about, because it's certainly not me at all, trying to do all the stuff at one time. I mean, that's ridiculous. I don't know who would even tries to do that.
I always tell
Could
people
you-
I do this 0.1 at you and 3 back at myself. So this is the only reason Sophie and I have these great programs, because we've literally walked it. We've sometimes done the talk and sometimes we haven't done the talk and we paid the consequences for it. So like, that's why we're good at our jobs.
Could you go over the walk thing one more time? Is it okay? Like, is it specifically because you're walking at a pretty good pace, or like, can you do the same thing like on my rebounder, or is that too much like exercise while you're trying to do the breathing?
No, you can. So you can go to the gym. My rule is just that your mouth has to stay shut.
Okay.
So you can do that. Your HRVs or your the CO2 is getting up. So you're like at 25 now. So I would feel comfortable. Like I'll tell people like, if you want to go do your gym workout now, that's fine. And you need to keep your mouth shut and be only breathing in and out through your nose. So if you can't do that for at least 10 minutes, then you're pushing too hard. Just slow it down. And you said a really good thing about the pace on the walk. This is where like overachieving and perfectionism gets in the way. So it should be both fast and slow enough that you can breathe through your nose without needing to take any gasping breaths for air. So someone asked me today, actually on a coaching call, they were like, does it matter that I did 7 minutes and then I needed to take like a big gulp of air, like, and then I was able to finish the next 3. I'm like, yes, it does matter. I'm like, 1, why? And they were like, well, because I felt like I needed that. And I was like, well, how fast were you walking? And they're like, well, I don't want to walk slower than like a 15, 16-minute pace. And I'm like, okay. So you don't want to meet your body where it is because you have some sort of belief about it. So instead, you're teaching your nervous system again, I'm going to not only challenge my nervous system by closing my mouth, but I'm also going to tell myself that it's unsafe if you can't meet my standard of a 15-minute mile. I'm like, do you see how we wrap around these things? So just know that like, it's not about pace. It's not about anything like that. Like I do, like 5-minute runs now with my mouth closed the whole time. And I count that kind of as my CO2. And then I don't take a breath. I'll slow down and then I'll finish the last 5-minute walking because I'm not strong enough yet to run for 10 minutes with my mouth closed because I'll need to gasp for air. But that's my only rule. If you need to gasp for air, even at the end of that 10 minutes or anytime during it, even if you can go back to mouth closed, that means you're just pushing it too hard and you're actually teaching yourself again, I'm not listening to you and I'm unsafe, but Nicole told me to do this for 10 minutes. So I'm going to do it for 10 minutes, but I'm going to do it at these specific paces. And this is what my expectation is of you, brain. So figure it out. Versus saying, I'm trying to nourish my nervous system. Sophie, are you okay? Sophie's like,
I'm never dying. Like, I mean, God, I think I've coached like 300 people at this point. Like, how many times I've had this conversation and like done it myself too. Like, it's just so funny. And like, I just, it's like we're so programmed to overachieve and like to push ourselves past our limits and to think that that's somehow going to be like better for us. It's just at this point it's funny to me because it's like everyone does it. And I love that we're talking about this because it's like, oh wait, let's try something else.
yeah. And again, we've been taught for years, right? Like when you overachieve, like, I don't know if you guys have seen the funny like TikToks and reels and stuff, but like when you overachieved, you got put in the gifted class. When you stayed up and you did 6 hours of homework, like I got straight A's. I became a valedictorian, got to give a big old speech. Who cares? Like I was exhausted. Like I remember sleeping for 16, 18 hours straight on the weekends in high school. Like, and then I went to college and guess what? They rewarded me for all my hard work with big old scholarships. So it taught me to be an overachiever. It taught me to keep going in that way. It taught me to keep doing those things. So like we're just learning a new way, but your brain is still working under the assumption that the only way to survive and thrive is by overachieving because that's the only pattern you've taught it and that's the only pattern that society has taught it. So it's getting like a double whammy. And so we're just simply saying this is why the objective measures are so important because without an objective measure, your unconscious mind will always default to what you've taught it, which is run yourself into the ground. Because if you run yourself into the ground long enough, you're gonna get success eventually. Like, eventually you'll be able to do all the things. I don't know when, because my grandmas are still alive and they're in their 90s and they still haven't been able to achieve doing all the things all the time and they're still stressed out. So like, let's not do that. Let's teach our kids different. Let's teach ourselves different. Like, let's hold different space for society as it grows. But you guys are here. You're doing the great work. So I'm really, really impressed, constantly proud of you guys, and just very, very, very honored to continue to be in this group with you all. If you guys need anything, I'm Mobility Athletes on Instagram. So you guys can always, I answer all my DMs and talk to people. So you guys can always send me a message there. Or I think I have my contact information inside the program that Sophie does. And I'll be back next month as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks. Sophie.
Thanks, Nicole.
Appreciate you
Great
guys
session.
so much. All right.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Bye.
Bye.